Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Vanessa Wright. Bruce Frisco is off tonight. It's Monday, July 20th, and this is CTV News. Tonight, motorcycles, cars, bikes, even scooters. It was a dangerous and deadly weekend on Maritime roads. Then a coroner's inquest gets underway into the death of a Moncton man 4 years ago. Plus, artists on the move. An art gallery has found a new place to call home in Halifax.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Vanessa Wright.
Good evening. It's been a deadly few days on and off roads in our region. A motorcyclist was killed this morning in Halifax. A young man and woman died on Grand Manan Island, and an ATV driver was killed in northern New Brunswick. Police have reported numerous fatalities from different crashes or collisions. CTV's Callum Smith has more on what we know.
Ahead of the busy commute on Halifax's Bedford Highway this morning, a 66-year-old man died when the motorcycle he was driving collided with a car near an intersection. The man died at the scene.
Right now, the investigation is currently still ongoing. No charges has been laid at this point. And
with more people on the roads in the summer, CAA says it's important drivers control what they can.
Things like distraction, impairment, aggressive driving, our speed, seatbelt use, these are all things that are within our control as drivers. So we need to pay attention to those, whether it's winter or summer, no matter what.
Meanwhile, 2 young people in New Brunswick have died after a single vehicle crash on Grand Manan. It happened before 2:15 a.m. Saturday when their vehicle crossed the center line and left the road into a wooded area along Route 776 in Woodward's Cove.
In addition, there's more vulnerable road users in the warmer months. The days are longer, the temperatures are higher, and so there's bikers, motorcyclists, pedestrians, all sorts of different people that we don't really see in the cold winter months that are using the roads.
And a crash in Nova Scotia's Inverness County has claimed the life of a 61-year-old Ontario woman. She was the passenger on a motorcycle that RCMP say lost control while driving on Highway 105 in Queensville. The driver was hurt and taken to hospital. And there was yet another crash this morning. This was on Highway 359 in Steam Mill in the Annapolis Valley. It was a single vehicle crash at about 5 a.m. Paramedics took the driver and lone occupant of the car to hospital. And it was a bicycle involved in a collision in Moncton where a cyclist was rushed to hospital after being struck by a vehicle. It happened during the noon hour yesterday at an intersection downtown. Kodiak RCMP say the cyclist went through a stop sign and a vehicle that had the right-of-way hit the cyclist. There's no word on their condition. Callum Smith, CTV News.
Meanwhile, Halifax police are investigating a vehicle collision involving a scooter last night. Officers responded to the crash around 11 p.m. at the corner of Quinpool Road and Roby Street. The driver of the scooter was taken to hospital with serious injuries. No word yet on what led to the collision, but the investigation is ongoing. A man has been charged after an investigation into a protest involving Premier Tim Houston in Wolfville last week. You'll recall protesters blocked the Premier's vehicle from leaving an event at Acadia University. While the Premier was inside, an individual climbed onto the hood and smashed the windshield. RCMP arrested 19-year-old Jacob Victor Stephen Smith of Kentville and charged him with several counts of intimidation and mischief under $5,000. He has made 1 court appearance, but he is not the same person who was charged and released last week. 4 people, 3 of them children, were rescued from a house fire in Cape Breton over the weekend. Fire crews were called to this home on Mount Pleasant Street in Whitney Pier Saturday afternoon. The building was fully engulfed when crews arrived and was being demolished today. Fire officials confirm an adult and 3 children were home at the time of the fire. All were rescued and made it out unharmed. Officials say a few firefighters suffered minor injuries.
We had reports that there were people in the house at the time that were assisted to be extricated by the homeowner, and the report I got was an off-duty RCMP officer that was in the area. 1 firefighter received minor burns that prevented him from continuing the shift. The other 2 firefighters were able to continue their shift, just little tweaks here and there. The fire is now being investigated by Cape Breton
Breton Regional Police and the Fire Marshal's Office. Officials say the cause is still undetermined. People being forced out of their Mooseland Road home after the evacuation order finally returned home today.
We saw the smoke, way up in the air going east, I guess, from the west to the east.
Some much-needed rain this weekend helped dim the fire that, until Sunday, had been burning out of control. The fire is now listed as held, which means homeowners made their way back. But while many people followed the evacuation order, others chose to ignore it. Barry Press told CTV News he decided to stay put and said the winds were blowing southeast and away from his home.
We live in the woods, and so we know what we're up against, and it's not like we don't have another way out. We can go to the north towards Musquodoboit Valley, and we have woods roads that go off and take you in that area as well.
Officials have yet to determine a cause of the fire, and groundwork continues to fully contain it.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Well, some strong words from Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston after word from Donald Trump has imposed fresh tariffs on Canada. In a video posted to social media this evening, Tim Houston offered thanks to Atlantic neighbors for assistance in fighting recent forest fires.
I really want to thank our friends in Newfoundland for sharing some of their resources with us, because that's what friends do when you're in trouble. They help. They don't threaten you. They don't laugh at you. They don't stand by and watch things burn. They don't tariff you. They act. They step up. They help. And despite the ignorant commentary coming from President Trump, please know that there is still some kindness south of the border. Thank you to Governor Healy.
Houston went on to thank the governor of Massachusetts, who he says offered support immediately after learning of the Nova Scotia fires. Well, New Brunswick Premier Susan Holt says she'll tout her province's clean electricity and defense opportunities when she sits down with her counterparts in Charlottetown this week. Holt laid out priorities for the Premier's meeting, including the expansion of clean nuclear energy and positioning the province as Canada's maritime energy hub. The leaders will sit down for 3 days of talks starting tomorrow. A coroner's inquest began in St. John today to learn more about how a Moncton man died while in police custody 4 years ago. Derek Johnson was picked up by RCMP on a November night for public intoxication and died while in hospital. CTV's Avery McRae has more on what the witnesses said.
The first was Lance Letourneau, a friend of Johnson who was letting him stay at his Moncton home when the incident occurred. He recalls Johnson drinking a lot the night of November 19. And when asked how drunk he was on a scale of 1 to 10, Letourneau says Johnson was a 10. Ambulance NB paramedic Julie Levesque-Price said Johnson refused care from EMS and got verbally aggressive when denying help. Kodiak RCMP was called, who picked up Johnson to take him back to the drunk tank to sober up for the night. He arrived at the cell block around 11:30. With Kodiak RCMP officers and security guards testifying Johnson was sleeping on the cell floor loudly snoring, which wasn't uncommon given his state. The on-duty security guard that night testified he checked the cells every 15 minutes. Just after 3, an officer entered the cell to speak with another inmate when they noticed Johnson was unconscious with a brown liquid-like substance around his face. Officers then began performing CPR for about 20 minutes before paramedics arrived and took him to the Moncton Hospital. It was later learned he suffered from a cardiac arrest. Further hospital tests also showed brain damage as a result of the heart attack and that Johnson had COVID-19. A Moncton doctor told the court there was little hope in Johnson making a recovery. A do not resuscitate order was signed 2 days later, with Johnson passing away in hospital on November 23rd. This entire week has been set aside for the inquest, but Deputy Chief Coroner Michael Johnston says it's possible that all the witnesses could testify by the end of the day tomorrow. It is important to note there will be no charges or repercussions of any sort as a result of this inquest. It is simply to learn more about the events that led up to Dennis Johnson's death in hopes of avoiding similar situations in the future. Avery McRae, CTV News, St. John.
A hospital in western New Brunswick says it won't be able to deliver any babies for more than 2 weeks starting Friday. In a release, Horizon Health Network says the labor and birth services at Upper River Valley Hospital will be temporarily diverted beginning on July 24th through to August 10th. The network cites a shortage of medical and nursing resources needed to safely perform emergency C-sections. The hospital's clinical team has contacted patients and is offering advice for alternative care plans. Another covered bridge in New Brunswick is now closed to vehicles. As CTV's Nick Moore reports, a fix could take years to complete.
The hardscrabble covered bridge in St. Martin's, New Brunswick opened in 1946. 80 years later, it is now blocked off to vehicles. The barricades went up on Friday, causing a detour for some residents.
We have to travel around the other side, and the road's very narrow and rough and dirt.
In a statement, the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure says it closed the bridge to vehicles in the interest of public safety due to the structure's deteriorated condition. It is one of two covered bridges just a short walk away. The Vaughan Creek covered bridge was rebuilt as a two-lane covered bridge in 2022.
It's a good thing that, you know what I mean, that we can close the bridge down, that there is another road access to it, so we can do some repairs onto it.
The mayor of St. Martin's Fundy says the provincial government gave him a heads up about 2 weeks ago that the bridge would be closing, but gave no specific date. John Caron says the closure happened suddenly.
It really bothered me that we didn't have a chance to let the people know well in advance.
People are still allowed to walk across the bridge. Mayor Caron says it's not a total surprise that the bridge needs repairs just by looking at it. He's also been told those repairs could take as long as 2 years to complete.
The integrity of the two covered bridges in one picture is the only place in the world you can get it in St. Martin's at that harbor. So I want to make sure that when we see the plans of whatever they're going to put there, it will keep the integrity of the whole area.
The provincial government says constructing a replacement covered bridge is being considered, but also says it is too early to provide specific details on potential options. Nick Moore, CTV News, St. Martin's.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Still to come tonight, Brianne Foley's full forecast, and we'll take a look at the impact the FIFA World Cup has had around the world and in our region. But next, preserving the past.
Now, I used to come over here and catch the ferry, go to Prince Edward Island, so you don't see no ferries coming here anymore.
A movement is growing in one maritime community to save a piece of their local history. Details are next. Stay with us.
Move Mornings with Aaron and Peter. Weekday mornings on Move 100. The most fun in the morning. And home of the $1,000 minute. Only on Move 100 Halifax.
Welcome back. So before the Confederation Bridge, there was a wharf at Cape Tormentine. Since the span opened, the wharf has been slowly crumbling. Now, as CTV's Derek Haggett tells us, there's an effort to save it.
It was once the pride of this small community, but it's been falling apart for years. Gaping holes, exposed rebar, abandoned buildings, and a lighthouse in need of saving.
It's not in very good condition right now. The wharf is just deteriorating. I mean, I used to come over here and catch the ferry, go to Prince Edward Island, so you don't see no ferries coming here anymore.
A Cape Tormentine community group wants something done about it, or better yet, purchase it themselves and apply for federal funding to fix it up.
The wharf is not in any real good condition. It's falling to pieces. It's a hazard, and we need it to be kept up, but it's not being kept up.
They say they've reached out to the owners several times over the years, but haven't heard anything from them of late.
I know the community as a whole of Straight Shores wants the little lighthouse saved and this dock saved and brought back to its glory.
The ferry terminal closed down in 1997 when Confederation Bridge was complete. The dream? To turn the wharf into a tourist destination. The community has seen positive momentum for years. A successful camping ground has since opened, and the annual Long Weekend Music Festival is coming up.
It's definitely not a ghost town. It's a beautiful place to be. It's not a lot of hustle and bustle, which is nice for people, especially if you're coming from the larger centers.
CTV News made efforts to reach the owner today, but did not hear back by news time. In an email to CTV News, the mayor of Strait Shores says there's still a future here at the wharf as long as action is taken soon before there's nothing left to save. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Cape Tormentine, New Brunswick.
All right, thank you, Derek. Time for a quick break. When we return, your complete maritime weather forecast. A beautiful night out there. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're joined with weather specialist Brianne Foley, who's in for Kayla Mitchell. She has a look at our maritime weather forecast. A beautiful day out there, Brianne.
Yes, Vanessa. If you didn't get out and enjoy, well, you will have another chance to do that on Tuesday. So at least that is good news. As we take a look here at our forecasted timeline for tonight, pretty clear conditions as we head into the early hours of Tuesday morning. We will start to see some cloud cover push into the region. Could be dealing also with a little fog along that Bay of Fundy coastline to start the morning before that dissipates, and then we see mostly a mix of sun and cloud throughout the day for Tuesday. So like I said, another great day to get out and about if you weren't able to enjoy some of the day today. However, we are going to start to see some low pressure move into the region into the early hours of Wednesday morning. So this low pressure is coming from across western parts of Canada as well as the southwest in the United States, and that's going to start to push in and pretty much blanket the entire region as of Wednesday. But you know what? We do need some rain in the region. So this is a fast moving system. It's mostly going to hang on just for Wednesday into the early hours of Thursday. We will see a change in wind gusts with that system coming in. So we are going to see those southeasterly winds pushing into the region with this low pressure system, and we'll see an increase in wind gusts as we head into Wednesday, of course, with this pressure system moving through our area. So for Tuesday, though, we are going to see a mix of sun and cloud. UV indexes hovering around that 7. So it's going to be another hot day to be out and about. That UV index is going to be impacting into southern and central parts of New Brunswick as well. We're looking at high to very high in some areas with that 8. A little bit colder, though, along the coastline than what we're used to seeing for this time of year. Heading over onto Prince Edward Island, mainly sunny conditions. Again, that high UV index, that very high UV index as we head throughout the day. Much of the same over on Cape Breton. We'll see a little bit of an extra cloud cover push in a little bit later into the afternoon as we head into central parts of Nova Scotia. Pretty average type temperatures, a little bit warmer in the Truro area as we head throughout the day on Tuesday. And then again, we are going to see a little bit of fog, a little bit of cooler conditions along the Bay of Fundy coastline. But as we head later on into the day, we will see some of those clouds disappear. So looking ahead to our 7-day planner, like I said, sunny skies for Tuesday, and then that rain does push into the region on Wednesday. We're going to have some lingering showers into Thursday in the central and southern parts of New Brunswick. We're seeing some colder temperatures, of course, with this low pressure system pushing in, but it is a fast moving system. So we do see an increase in temperatures as we head towards the weekend. So you know what? A little bit of midweek rain isn't bad for anybody. We continue to see that trend over in Nova Scotia. Again, cooler temperatures, not so cold overnight, but we will continue to see those periods of rain linger into Thursday before things clear out as we head to Friday and the weekend. Much the same over on the Gentle Island. So mainly sunny skies for Tuesday, highs of 27, so above average for this time of year. And then we start to see those showers push in into Wednesday. They are going to linger as well into Thursday before things start to clear up as we head into the weekend. So not too bad to have some midweek showers because we do need them in the region. But as we head later on into the weekend, we are going to see some sunny skies, Vanessa. So not terrible.
Not bad at all. Thank you, Brianne. We'll see you a bit later, but right now we're going to take a break on CTV News at 11:30. We'll have more for you just in a little bit.
The #1 morning show in Halifax. Turk, Megan, and Amateur Alex. And home to the biggest artists. Halifax's #1 hit music station. 101.3 Virgin Radio.
Welcome back. The FIFA World Cup is officially over, with Spain earning the top spot. The tournament saw soccer fans gather around the world, including here in the Maritimes, where fans were cheering on Canada's historic run. As CTV's Jonathan McGuinness shows us, the World Cup will leave a lasting impact.
There is no game today, but I think everybody's still on a high from what was a phenomenal World Cup.
The games started on June 11th, with matches seemingly on all day, every day. Fans packed pubs, bars, and restaurants to watch.
People were coming out, they were vibing, they were drinking, they were eating, they were having fun, they were socializing in groups. And to be honest, it was just a great energy in all the pubs and all the venues. It was phenomenal.
Now that it's over, I'm spending most of the time just watching repeat games and then some highlight moments from the game, some intense moments.
It kind of feels like it's like the night after a big party.
In many ways, it is, especially for the supporters of Spain, who won the 2026 World Cup last night with a dominant performance over Argentina. The final game of 104 played throughout Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. The hope now is that the momentum will continue and support will turn to local soccer teams.
We've now got two professional franchises, the Tides and the Wanderers, so people are getting more used to soccer, and so it definitely felt this year was much bigger than 4 years ago, and that felt much bigger than 4 years before that.
Business owners aren't waiting for the next World Cup to roll around.
Well, now the sun's shining. Hopefully it just turns into a great summer. There's so many events that are coming down the pipeline as well. The Tides are still playing, the Wanderers are playing, the Buskers Fest is coming down the pipeline shortly. So summer in Halifax is always phenomenal.
Jonathan McGuinness, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, John. Time now for one last break. Coming up, we'll tell you how a Halifax art gallery is preparing for its grand reopening. But first, your wake-up weather. Here's a live look at the Halifax Armdale Roundabout, where it's about 17 degrees. It's Brianne Foley with what you need to know in the morning when we come back.
Tuesday on Your Morning Atlantic, watching the warm waters.
We'll chat with the Executive Director of the Shark Research Foundation about shark smart tips for summer.
Start your morning with us Tuesday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Welcome back. Now time for a quick look at tomorrow's wake-up weather. Brianne Foley joins us once again. Hi, Brianne.
Hi, Vanessa. Yes, pretty clear conditions as we start the day for tomorrow. We will see a little bit of fog action along that Bay of Fundy coastline as we head throughout the day, but then a mix of sun and clouds and things getting pretty seasonal as we head into the day. We are going to see a little bit cooler temperatures again along that Bay of Fundy coastline, and some more cloud cover moves in as we head later into the evening on Tuesday.
Brianne. After losing its longtime spot at the Halifax airport, the Artport Gallery has found a new place to call home. As CTV's Hafsa Arf tells us tonight, the artists are preparing to welcome the public back for its grand reopening.
We thought we don't want to close. We wanted to continue on as a co-op.
For more than 2 decades, travelers passing through the airport got a glimpse of Nova Scotia through art.
We were extremely disappointed and sad to be closing at the airport because we had a regular clientele, a built-in clientele, worldwide clientele.
The new gallery features work from 11 Nova Scotian artists, with everything from original paintings to reproductions and art cards. Among the new artists is Judith Orr.
I'm quite prolific and I'm just learning, so getting better all the time, and not so great at the sales part of things, so the idea of being part of a gallery among like-minded and some lovely artists is very nice. Yeah.
The hope is the new space attracts visitors and maybe even have them take a little piece of Nova Scotia home.
Tourists that come, say, off the ships here in Halifax, walk into a gallery and kind of slow down, meet local people, see some of the local flavors in the art.
When we were at the airport, we had people from far and wide. We had people from all over the world, and we're hoping that those same people will find us here at this gallery.
The Artport Gallery's grand reopening takes place Thursday. Artists are expected to be there to meet visitors and celebrate the gallery's future. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Halifax.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Hafsa. That's your late news tonight. Just a reminder, if you've tuned in late or you'd like a second look at any of our stories, you can always visit ctvnewsatlantic.ca. It is your home for news. I'm Vanessa Wright in for Bruce Frisco. Thanks so much for staying up with us. Hope to see you again tomorrow night.